Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, we go along to check out council works to restore a former art college in Grimsby. We'll have the first of our business bulletins when we shine a light on the latest developments in our local business community. And my guest tonight is Steve Bray from Humberside Fire and Rescue to talk about how to stay safe this bonfire night. Welcome to Estuary News. I'm Hugh Riches. Time now for the news headlines.
Councillors in North East Lincolnshire have agreed to push for more government support for people and businesses affected by job losses at Tartar Steelworks in Scunthorpe. Council members voted to write to the Secretary of State for Communities and Local Government and the Minister for Business, Enterprise and Skills to call upon them urgently to reinforce their support for those affected and intervene to ensure the sustainability of the steel industry and its supply chain in northern Lincolnshire. Elsewhere, the centre manager for Beverley's new Flemingate development insists the venue has been built in keeping with the rest of the town. Some residents had been concerned that it would overly modernise the area, but centre manager Graham Tate says it's been specifically built sympathetically.
If you look down Flemingate, if you look at what they've done, there's 1 million bricks gone down. If you look at the shape of the building, it's not a typical mall. This is being built very sympathetically towards Beverley, so it will meld in.
North Lincolnshire Council has awarded a £15,000 grant to the Warby Under 5s Association from its Community Grant Fund. The funding will be used to build a new outdoor play area for the preschool on Vicarage Avenue. East Riding of Yorkshire Council says they're seeking expressions of interest for Skidby Mill and Heritage Centre, which is currently operated by the council. The visitor attraction is the home of the Museum of East Riding Rural Life and the area's only working windmill. The council want to find out what more they can do to make the most of its heritage while making the most of its value also. And Remembrance Sunday will see civic representatives, servicemen and women and the public attend events in Cleethorpes, Grimsby, Immingham and villages across the borough on Sunday. The Mayor of North East Lincolnshire, Councillor Cliff Barber, will attend the Grimsby ceremony. The Cleethorpes event will be attended by the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Christina McGilligan-Fell in Immingham, and Councillor David Watson will lay a wreath on behalf of the citizens of North East Lincolnshire. And that's the latest from the news.
A North East Lincolnshire councillor is working to restore the former art college on Eleanor Street in Grimsby to its former glory. It comes after a large fire ripped through the derelict site. Erica Barker spoke to the Liberal Democratic councillor for the East Marsh ward, Steve Besant.
It was potentially built in the late 1800s, opened up as Wintringham School, and then it became the technical school. Many people forget it was the technical school, and then it's obviously moved into the hands of the art college, well, before it became Grimsby Institute, and then it obviously went in its sad demise. But to be honest, it's a fantastic building, but unfortunately now it's a challenge for youngsters. It is. Sooner or later, if we're not careful, if we don't stop them getting in there, there's going to be a death on our hands. There is. And this building is safe on the outside, but it's not on the inside. The fire brigade won't go in there. It's quite clear they're not going to see a death on their hands. They're not. And my appeal to any youngster watching this: just don't go in this building. I would like to see my first £1 million house in this area, and this could start the regeneration of the East Marsh. It could do. It'd be fantastic when that planning application is deposited. I've been pushing the officers over the last few days, and the main thing is that I meet with the developer and the other ward councillors, but we also invite the residents there because they should have an input of what is going to be is going on this site. They want to see what is going on this site because they want to see aspirations as well as me, and we want to make sure it's good concrete development. One that doesn't change the frontage of the building as such, and one which we can see real good quality living accommodation.
Still to come tonight, we have our first local business news roundup and we have the latest local sports news. Remember, remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. It's that time of year when the sparklers are out, we all get huddled round a roaring fire and we watch the fireworks fall from the night sky. But of course, there are serious consequences if the occasion isn't properly conducted. Steve Bray is the Community Safety Watch Manager from Humberside Fire and Rescue, which is what the Humberside Fire Brigade calls itself these days, and he's here to talk about it now. Steve, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
What are the dangers of the 5th of November?
Oh, there's many dangers to the 5th of November, as we quite likely know, and we'll go through a few of them. I tend to try and split them into categories. You've obviously got your property, you've got your pets, and then personally. So I'll maybe just go through a couple of them separately.
Well, first of all, let's talk about the personal dangers, and I guess we're talking especially about the safety of children.
Yes, definitely with children. Obviously, there's been a lot of things on telly nowadays around outfits. So obviously, if you are getting dressed up around outfits, make sure you do keep your children away from any fire or any fireworks if they've got the outfits on, and they should have a safety tag in them, which a lot of the local people that sell them now have.
And that's because we talked about this during Halloween just last week, but a lot of sort of children's fancy dress outfits and things like that tend to be pretty much just made of plastic.
Yeah, they are.
Which hurts when it melts.
It does, and it's obviously very reactive to fire. So if you get very close, it does melt and catch fire quite quickly, a lot quicker than normal clothing.
Children love bonfire night, of course, and one of the reasons they love it is
it's so much fun.
Well, it is so
and
much
it's so
fun.
bright and so lovely.
But I was thinking most specifically, it's sparklers.
It is. Sparklers, obviously, if you ever get any fireworks or use them at home, we do say read the instructions on them carefully, very carefully. With sparklers, with little children, with the amount of sparks that do go off them, we always say do wear gloves, but then you've got to be careful of what type of gloves you wear. But you are generally better wearing just like a normal type of glove, not a fancy dress glove. At the end of your sparklers, you should always have somewhere where you can dispose of them. So you should always have like a bucket of water, a metal bucket if you obviously can, because you don't want a plastic bucket, full of water, and obviously go through it. Don't just give your children them, a large group and unsupervised, and let them walk about and wave them about like they used to in faces. Have a proper structure with them, go through it first, what they obviously should do, and then at the end of it, explain to them that you've got to all individually place them in the bucket and then obviously walk away from them. We don't want the old days where we used to all write our names in sparklers everywhere. It needs to be supervised, but obviously have fun.
Yeah, obviously have fun.
You don't want to take the fun out of firework now.
No, absolutely not.
It's
no.
got to be done carefully.
What about adults? Adults are probably going to be, if you're having a private firework display in your garden, we know, don't go back to it if it doesn't go off, you know, when you've counted 10.
Yeah, fireworks is obviously a problem for when you're holding like your own party, a personal party. We do say that before you ever do this, obviously look on the Humberside Fire Brigade website, because there is a lot of information that's actually structured on there.
Just give us the address for that
it's
website.
Humberside, obviously just www.humbersidefire.gov.uk, and just put that in, and obviously it'll come up, and then there's lots of links on it. There's lots and lots of links. Alternatively, follow us on our social media sites, Twitter and Facebook, just at Humberside Fire, because there is a multitude of information on there. Okay. So all this information is on there. But getting back to what we've said about adults, if you do decide to have a party, obviously at home, always read the instructions on the booklet. Every firework display comes with instructions in them. Always keep them in a metal tin, keep them away from the children, use the normal lighters. Within the garden or the facility that you're having it, keep obviously doors and windows closed, your shed, your garage. If everybody's got disposable barbecues or gas-powered barbecues now, make sure all that sort of stuff's locked away for bonfire night. When you're having your display, have that break, so only you as an adult should be obviously doing the fireworks. Put them in a nice area in your garden or wherever you're doing it, so it's obviously going to be away from your property.
So wherever you're launching them from, people stay a good sort of 15 feet away?
As far back as possible, depending on your garden. You don't want to be doing it in a little square, obviously. Be mindful also of where you're actually guiding them, where they're actually going into, where the fire zone is almost. Because you could be doing it into somebody else's having a party at the back of you, so just be mindful of what you're doing and be aware of your surroundings. You don't want your firework landing in somebody else's perfectly well protected metal tin of fireworks. Exactly, we certainly don't. Obviously, if it's dark and you haven't got outside lighting, which you probably won't have, use a torch. So take a torch with you, and we always advise don't mix alcohol and fireworks. So if you are leading a party, try and keep away from the alcohol if you're obviously letting fireworks off.
Don't have a drink until you've let off the last firework.
Don't drink until you've let them off. And obviously, as you rightly said at the beginning, don't ever go back to a firework if it hasn't gone off.
No. What do you do if a firework, if you light the blue touch paper, you light the fuse and nothing happens, what's the form?
We just stay away from it. Don't ever go back to it, don't move it, leave it. Leave it till the next morning, till it's obviously well cooled down, and you can dispose of it. But don't go back to it and obviously try and kick it out of the way or move it it sort of like does put a bit of a dampener on the party, obviously, but don't go back to fireworks.
Okay.
Don't go back to them at all.
All right. We did mention children's safety there, but there is a legal aspect to children and fireworks as well.
Yes, it is actually illegal for children under the age of 18 to actually have a firework in a public place. So obviously, within your own property, you've got to obviously do that as an adult. But if anybody does see any sort of children or gangs or youths that are obviously becoming a problem in a public area with fireworks, it is a direct 999 call to the police.
It is a strange tradition that we sell, not high explosives, but we sell things full of gunpowder to the public as a...
It is. And it is a problem, but I think as times go on, there's a lot more displays nowadays.
Yep.
I know myself personally, I've gone away from having a bonfire party. I have a Halloween party for my children, and then we always go out on bonfire night and look at the displays. And they are all of the nominated big displays in the area are also on our website as well.
Steve, we'll come back and get a bit more advice on firework night in a minute.
No problem.
Stop there for a second. Join me after the break as we have our first business news roundup, and we'll also bring you all the latest local sports news as Hull City rise to the top of the championship. As you'll have been able to tell from the abundance of fog covering our area this week, we're now well and truly into autumn. It conjures images of golden trees and birds migrating for winter. Take a look at our autumn montage filmed in Hull's Pickering Park. Still with me in the studio is Steve Bray from the Humberside Fire Brigade, which also does rescues. Steve, thanks very much. We were talking about safety with firework night on the 5th of November, or probably the Saturday following it.
Yep.
We talked about adult safety, we talked about children's. What about pets?
Yeah, pets is obviously a big issue. People forget that obviously pets generally are quite intolerant to loud noises.
Well, animals
and
don't like fire, naturally.
They don't like fire. So what we do say is just around that bonfire weekend, because it is like the 5th, 6th and 7th, there is organised displays on all them nights this year, with it coming up to the weekend. Just be mindful of your pets if you take your dog for a walk on a night, or your cats, or you let them out. Be mindful you do it earlier this year. Keep them indoors. Keep a telly on for them so there's a little bit of background noise. Don't just think that your dog is obviously unprone to the noises because it's fine, take them for a walk. Just try and just change the pattern that you do just for them few nights.
It's a very good point. My dogs and cats love watching television.
Yeah.
They especially love watching Estuary TV, which is the best.
As they would you.
We're quite right too. Property. Houses can get burnt down.
They can. On bonfire night, that lead up, obviously, doors and windows, please obviously keep them shut. Think of your external uses as well, your garages, your sheds, like I've said, your barbecues. Try and lock everything away. Just don't obviously lock the world out, but just be a little bit more mindful that there may be things flying about in the air, rockets and fireworks, and just keep yourself safe within the property, because everybody, as we say, there is a lot of elder people, very young children, people that work shifts still. We've got to be a little bit mindful of them. Everybody doesn't love firework night.
And the fact is that you keep the windows closed because there's a certain amount of ordnance in the air,
and
things can just get flying through the windows.
Definitely, and people having obviously bonfires in the garden as well. If they do decide to go down that route, obviously you get smoke and different travels and obviously different wind directions. So just be mindful. And obviously, if you have got older people living next door in the vicinity that maybe haven't got family, just check on them, make sure they're okay,
and invite them round to come and see
invite them round. Yeah,
it's good. It must be is it the busiest night of your year in the fire brigade?
It can be a very demanding night for all emergency services, to be fair, because there is just that heightened people about, that heightened number of calls, that heightened number of people that obviously seeing reflections, seeing fire, seeing fireworks. So we do get an increased number of calls. So that's why we do obviously say be very careful what you are ringing in as well.
We're just going to mention firework night, of course, is the most combustible, but there's also Christmas coming up.
Yes.
In a couple of months.
Yes.
And there's a danger there. Lots of people are using more electricity than usual.
There is, definitely, yeah, and I think that's one we could cover in a separate interview another time.
Okay.
But definitely at Christmas coming up, everybody obviously locks all the Christmas lights. They put everything away. They maybe don't use the right adapters. They don't check the fuses. They don't check the bulbs. Christmas trees. Obviously you've said there a lot more electricity is used. The possibility of candles. It's a whole scary world, but we don't want to be the humbug of Christmas.
Of course
you've got to enjoy Christmas, but make sure your safety is right in your property.
What will you be doing on bonfire night?
What will I be doing on bonfire night? I am taking my son and my wife, and we're walking down to Cleethorpes to see the display that's down at Cleethorpes this week.
It's always a fantastic display, isn't it?
It is a fantastic display.
And you'd recommend those public displays? They're
displays
always going to be better than what you've got in the back of the garden.
Yes, yeah. You're always going to get better types of fireworks because they can obviously increase the level that they sell to because they're an organised display. And it's just you haven't got to tidy up, you haven't got to worry about the safety.
We must stop there, Steve.
No problem.
Thank you so very much for coming in, and have a very safe night.
And you. Thank you.
From now on, every Wednesday, we'll be bringing you a business roundup to look through some of the different stories in our business community. Here's Erica Barker with the first.
It's hoped Beverley's new Flemingate development will provide a huge financial boost for the town. The managing director of the Wykeland Group, who are behind the new 120 multi-purpose facility, believe it'll encourage more Beverley residents to spend their money in the town instead of going elsewhere.
Beverley's been under retail for a generation in terms of the size of retailing and the amount that could fit into Beverley. It only trades at about 39 pence in the pound of the Beverley spending pound is actually spent in Beverley. A market town like Beverley should be in the mid-50s. So it's actually sort of correcting the balance that should have been happening sort of 10, 20 years ago. So it's now actually bringing it into the modern era.
Last week, a new state-of-the-art acetylene plant opened in Immingham, creating 20 permanent jobs. £35 million has been invested by BOC into the facility, which they say is groundbreaking in terms of safety, design and engineering. Nathan Palmer, Director of Bulk Liquid and Packaged Gases, is delighted the company are investing in the region.
The reason we have this site here is because we had a pre-existing operation here on site, and we already had the capabilities, the skill sets, the leadership and the process safety controls that we could expand into this new acetylene facility. And we have a thriving apprentice scheme within BOC as well as an engineering graduate scheme. And so we've got a fantastic, rich, diverse mix of people that we can bring to bear and to operate on this site. And we use a local college, the Heta College in Grimsby, as the centre of our sort of theoretical excellence when training our apprentices.
BAE Systems says its new academy will make up for a lack of skilled workers. Martin Blaze, Maintenance and Support Director for BAE, says that a growth in exports raises a demand for skilled workers, which the training academy at Humberside Airport can provide.
Well, there is. I mean, we're going through quite a growth in our export markets at the moment, which demands competent people to go and furnish the support of the customer's aircraft. So as I said before, it's over 1,000 people over the next 5 to 6 years. We need somewhere to train them because they're just not locally available.
A local estate agent says the lack of home building in Grimsby is affecting the local market. Piggott and Crone say that an average of 237 homes are needed every year in North East Lincolnshire, but around half of that are actually built. Well, branch manager Graham Gardner says the lack of new homes is pushing prices up and stopping first-time buyers.
When there's not enough homes being built, it causes prices to rise because there's not enough for people to buy. There's less choice. I suppose it's like any commodity in the world. You go into a supermarket and you've got less choice. You know, if there's 5 brands of orange juice, you're going to go for the one that's on sale. I mean, we've certainly seen, Grimsby, prices have risen circa sort of 10% in the last sort of years, which makes it very, very difficult for sort of first-time buyers, you know, to get on the housing market if these homes aren't being built.
Maven Capital Partners, one of the UK's private equity houses, is delighted to announce it's invested £5.4 million in the GEV Group, which has a key focus on the renewable sector. GEV's largest entity is GEV Wind Power, based in Hull, and is one of Europe's leading wind turbine blade specialists.
Time now for the sport.
The Tigers went top of the Sky Bet Championship table after a 2-0 victory over Brentford at Griffin Park last night, with goals from Andrew Robertson, his first for the club, and Sam Clucas. Around 1,000 fans travelled down to London to see the victory. Scunthorpe United manager Mark Robbins has been nominated for Sky Bet League One Manager of the Month for October. Only an unlucky defeat at leaders at Gillingham prevented Robbins from guiding Scunthorpe through a near-perfect month. 5 wins from 6 games with 13 goals and 5 conceded. And Grimsby Town are offering their Kids for a Quid offer for Saturday's game against St Albans at Blundell Park on Saturday. Children aged 14 and under, when accompanied by an adult, are eligible. And the club are hoping for a gate in excess of 2,000, with St Albans estimating an away attendance of over 200. And Cleethorpes Town were drawn at home to Racing Club Warwick in Monday's draw for the second round of the season's FA Vase competition. The Racers are currently competing in Division 1 of the Midland Football League, which is a Step 6 league, 1 step below the Owls. And it's been reported Market Raisin jockey Duran Fentiman is set to jet out to Bahrain for a 5-month spell of riding action. Fentiman has had a slightly disappointing 2015 turf season in the UK, riding only 9 winners. He will return to Lincolnshire in March and continue to ride in the 2016 season for Moulton trainer Tim Easterby. And that's all from the sport.
That's it for tonight. If you have a news story for us, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages, email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472 31553. Until tomorrow, good evening.
Estuary TV weather, sponsored by Rix Petroleum, your local family-owned heating oil supplier this winter.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Some bright or sunny intervals on Thursday, some patchy rain in the late morning, becoming more persistent and heavy later on, with maximum temperatures of 13 degrees. Staying mild on Friday but unsettled with some showers and longer spells of rain.
Rix, servicing the region's oil boilers this winter from a name you can trust. Get in touch at rix.co.uk or call us on 01482 838383.